Your leg vibrated. You felt it. There was definitely a buzz. So you reach for your phone like a cowboy reaching for his six-shooter, except your phone isn't even in your pocket. Or worse, it's on the table, across the room, laughing silently at you. Welcome to phantom phone syndrome, when your brain decides to cosplay as a phone notification system for absolutely no reason. This glitch is so common that about 90% of people report experiencing it. 90%. That's almost everyone. Which means your nervous system has unionized under the lie to me clause. Here's what's happening. Your brain is so accustomed to checking your phone that it starts predicting phantom notifications. Your sensory neurons detect some vague movement, like your pants brushing against your skin, and your brain's like, "OH, it's happening. They texted." But no, it's just fabric, or air, or your leg hair giving you false hope. This is basically your brain experiencing withdrawal. Like a needy ex, the dopamine you get from notifications is so addictive that your brain starts hallucinating them. It's a tiny lie to keep the dopamine faucet dripping. So next time your thigh buzzes with invisible urgency, just remember, it's not a message. It's your brain screaming into the void for attention. You walk into a room and poof, your brain throws everything you knew into a mental shredder. Why did you come in here? What were you about to do? You're just standing there like a non-player character waiting for someone to give you a quest. This charming glitch is called the doorway effect. And yes, it's real. Your brain treats doorways like chapter breaks. When you physically cross into a new space, your hippocampus, the memory bouncer, basically goes, "New room, new rules," and ejects your short-term intention from the VIP lounge. From an evolutionary standpoint, this might have been useful. If you're running from a tiger, what happened 5 steps ago doesn't matter. What matters is the tiger, or the fact that you're now inside a cave that smells like more tigers. But in modern life, it's just annoying. You go to the kitchen for scissors and end up staring at a banana like it holds the secrets of the universe. Want to beat the glitch? Say your task out loud as you walk. "I'm going to get scissors." It makes your brain keep the info on the front page instead of filing it under useless thoughts to erase. Or just live in one room forever. That's a perfectly normal workaround. You ever hear someone chewing and suddenly want to throw them into the sun? That's not a lack of patience. That's a thing. It's called misophonia, which is a fancy term for certain sounds make me homicidal. Not all sounds, just those sounds. The sniffing, the slurping, the gum chewing that echoes through your soul like a drum of doom. What's happening here is that your brain wires sound and emotion way too tightly. Specifically, the anterior insular cortex, your internal alarm bell, links those repetitive human noises with a primal rage response. It's not a quirk. It's a neurological overreaction. Your brain goes DEFCON 1 over a mouth sound. And here's the worst part. The person making the noise? Totally unaware. They're just existing, being a person. Meanwhile, your blood pressure has filed for workers' comp. Misophonia isn't just irritation, it's visceral. You don't just dislike the sound. You feel attacked. It's as if your nervous system wants to throw hands with a bowl of cereal. So yeah, you're not overreacting. Your brain just has a hyperspecific enemy list. You're lying in bed, finally drifting off to sleep, when suddenly, bam, you feel like you just fell off a building. Your whole body jolts like it's been tossed by an invisible ghost. Congratulations, you've just experienced a hypnic jerk. A mini body quake your nervous system throws when you're trying to vibe with sleep. It's like your brain is gently tucking you in, then slaps you for good measure. Scientists think this glitch is an ancient evolutionary leftover. Back in caveman days, as your muscles relax during sleep, your brain sometimes mistook that relaxation for falling out of a tree. And in classic panic mode, it would send a jolt to yank you back to safety, which was probably a sturdy branch, or just dirt. Now we don't sleep in trees anymore, but your brain didn't get the memo. It still occasionally thinks bedtime equals imminent plummeting death, especially if you're overtired, stressed, or had too much caffeine, which, let's be honest, is your daily aesthetic. So that full body yeet you feel right as you're about to pass out, that's your ancient squirrel brain screaming, "Don't die." Ever looked at a bright sky and noticed weird little squiggles drifting across your vision? like transparent jellyfish ghosts that float around every time you try to focus on them? Those are eye floaters. And before you panic, no, they're not bugs in your eyeball. They're in your eyeball, as in inside the goo. Specifically, they're bits of collagen or other debris floating in your vitreous humor, the jelly-like stuff that makes your eyeball squishy. As light hits your eye, these little floaty goblins cast tiny shadows on your retina, which your brain registers as something moving. And your brain, not a fan of vague shadow blobs, it immediately starts interpreting them as, what the heck was that? Even though it's just your own body being weird again. Floaters are mostly harmless. But try explaining that to someone who suddenly thinks they're being haunted by microscopic skyworms. Here's the kicker. If you try to look directly at them, they drift away like, nope, can't catch me. It's like playing hide and seek with your own biology. Fun fact, as you age, you get more of them. Yay, body decay. Ever catch yourself in the mirror and flinch like there's an intruder? That's your own face. That's you. And your brain's still panicked. Why? Because of something called the strange face illusion. Stare into a mirror for long enough, especially in dim lighting, and your brain will start morphing your reflection into something else. Sometimes creepy, sometimes unfamiliar, sometimes straight up possessed mannequin energy. It's a neural fatigue thing. Your visual processing center starts glitching out after prolonged focus, and your facial recognition neurons get bored. So they spice things up by messing with your reflection like they're editing it in Photoshop without your consent. Combine that with a dash of pareidolia, that thing where we see faces in toast, and your brain starts inventing shadows and shapes until you're staring at some Victorian ghost version of yourself. This is why staring into the mirror too long feels like summoning something. Because you are. You're summoning your own psychological horror movie. So yeah, you didn't see a ghost. You just watched your brain have a tiny panic party in the bathroom. You're deep in thought, maybe zoning out in a meeting or imagining how you'd survive a zombie apocalypse. Suddenly, someone says your name, loud and clear, and instead of responding like a normal person, your brain takes a beat. You just stare, like you forgot what language is. That delay? That's brain lag, and it happens because your mind was off frolicking in a completely unrelated mental meadow. And when someone drops your name, your brain has to go, hang on. Let me alt-tab back to reality. Hearing your name is one of the most powerful auditory triggers your brain responds to. It's basically a siren call for attention. But if your focus was fully occupied, your mental CPU spikes to 100% just trying to boot up the social response module. It's like being yanked out of REM sleep mid-dream and being asked to do algebra. You can technically, but your soul isn't ready. So if someone says your name and you look at them like they just asked you to name all 118 elements on the periodic table, congrats, your human software is running on Windows 98. And speaking of names, ever thought someone called you from another room, but no one did? You swear you heard it. You pause your music. You squint at the hallway. Did someone say my name? Nope. Just the fan and your slowly unraveling sanity. This glitch is called auditory pareidolia, and it's your brain doing what it loves most, jumping to conclusions. It's wired to recognize your name and other familiar sounds with high priority. So if it hears random background noise that kind of matches the rhythm or tone of your name, it slaps on a name tag and calls it a day. It's like your auditory system is playing a game of Mad Libs with the air conditioner. What's that? A whisper? Clearly it's Ashley. This used to be helpful evolution-wise. Recognizing your name from a distant tribe member meant you didn't get eaten by a bear alone. Today, it just means you pause your playlist mid-jam because your air fryer might be talking to you. Basically, your brain is paranoid and kind of vain. You're just about to fall asleep and your brain goes, you know what? Let's play the static channel of doom. A buzz, a hum, maybe even a super loud thought. Not even words. Just a mental scream or bang or unintelligible psychic garbage. It's like your brain coughed up a haunted radio signal from another dimension. This, my friend, is hypnagogic hallucination. It's your brain crossing the border between wakefulness and sleep, and like any border crossing, it's weird, confusing, and slightly illegal feeling. You might hear music, voices, crashes, or weird sounds that feel real but aren't. Your brain is basically defragging your hard drive while your consciousness is still logged in. It's more common when you're stressed, overtired, or just built like a nervous raccoon. And it's not dangerous, just jarring. So if you ever hear whispering or feel like your brain just threw a mental firework at you, no, you're not broken. Your internal operating system just hasn't finished updating yet. Ever been mad at someone for something they never actually said? Because it was a fake argument your brain invented while you were in the shower? Yeah. That's a brain drama rerun, brought to you by your prefrontal cortex and its addiction to simulations. Your mind loves rehearsing potential conflicts or social scenarios, even the ones that never happened and never will happen. Why? Because it's trying to protect you, sort of. It's like mental training for a fight you might have someday. Your brain runs a simulation. What if they said this dumb thing? And then your imaginary self claps back with a totally brilliant, award-winning comeback. You feel smug, victorious, fueled by rage, at nothing, because none of it was real. This is called rumination, and while it's useful in small doses for planning or processing events, it often spirals into an overactive anxiety factory. Your brain basically turns into the world's worst playwright, creating entire dialogue scenes with zero fact-checking. So if you're ever fuming over an imaginary insult from a conversation that didn't exist, just remember, you're not losing it. You're just starring in a one-person soap opera, directed by stress. You've typed your own email thousands of times. Your fingers should know the drill. And yet, one day you're just staring, keyboard in front of you, brain not cooperating. Wait, is it gmail.com or .net? This is automatism failure, basically, when your brain glitches out during a routine task it normally performs without thought. Typing, walking into a room, pouring coffee. Suddenly feel like you're trying to disarm a bomb with spaghetti fingers. It happens when your brain tries to shift gears between autopilot mode, routine stuff, and conscious override mode, focused attention. Something breaks in the handoff and suddenly brushing your teeth feels like a complicated ritual you've never learned before. Your brain, like a lazy intern, says, "Wait, I was in charge of that?" And now you're both staring at the toothbrush like it's a cursed relic. Don't worry. It's usually stress or mental overload playing sabotage. Your brain's still fine. It's just buffering, like every app on your phone when you need it most. Say any word, literally any word, 10 times in a row. Let's say, spoon, 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 spoon. Oh no. Suddenly spoon feels fake, like it was never a real word. What even is a spoon? This is called semantic satiation, and it's the brain's version of, if I hear that one more time, I'm out. When you repeat a word too often, your neurons responsible for processing it temporarily shut down from overuse. It's like your language center rage quits the moment it realizes you're looping the same sound for no reason. Your brain stops connecting the sound to its meaning, and suddenly spoon is just a weird noise your mouth made. This is also why saying your own name too much starts to feel like it belongs to someone else. Fun existential crisis, huh? So yeah, your language processor is chill until you overwork it, then it gaslights you. Spoon? Never heard of her. You're in a near-car accident, or you trip and fall. And in that moment, time slows, like Matrix-level slow. You register every detail. The angle of the fall, the expression on your friend's face, the fact that your whole life is flashing before your eyes, but also you're still not sure where you left your keys. This isn't some superhero power. It's your brain flipping on the emergency broadcast system. In high-stress moments, your amygdala, aka the fear goblin in your brain, takes over and starts recording everything in ultra-high definition. You're not actually moving in slow-mo. What's happening is your perception of time gets distorted because your brain is collecting way more data than usual. It's like switching from casual note-taking to full-on courtroom transcription. Later, when you remember the event, it feels like it lasted forever because there's just so much information crammed into those few seconds. Basically, when danger strikes, your brain pulls out the big camera and also hits the panic button and probably screams internally. You swear you remember that event clearly. The dress was blue, not white. Your friend was definitely there. You didn't say that, you said this. But here's the catch. Memory isn't a recording. It's a bad courtroom sketch drawn by a sleep-deprived artist with a wild imagination. When you recall something, you're not pulling up a video file. You're rebuilding the memory from scattered brain crumbs. Each time you remember it, it gets edited slightly, like a game of telephone, but you're playing it with yourself across time. And the worst part? The more confident you are, the more likely it is that your memory is wrong. Confidence isn't accuracy. It's just your brain putting on a suit and pretending it knows what it's doing. This is called confabulation, and it's not lying. It's your brain filling in blanks with its best guesses. Like an improv actor with no script. So next time you're 100% sure you returned that library book in 2009, you probably didn't. Let's end where we began, except dumber. You feel your phone vibrating in your phantom pocket. You reach down and realize, oh, you're not even wearing pants. You're in pajamas, or a towel, or just a robe of lies. That, my friend, is the full evolution of phantom vibration syndrome, except now it doesn't even need your phone to exist. Your nervous system is fully freelance now. By this point, your brain has become so dependent on your phone giving you tiny digital dopamine hits that it started faking them entirely. This is peak codependency. Your body is now simulating an object that doesn't exist. We are manifesting texts from the void. So the next time your upper thigh buzzes in a totally phoneless outfit, just nod. Accept it. Your brain's officially haunted.